Chitete Korea Goromuka Panmavaka Chitete Korea Asa Radhe Guru Charane Radhe Aise Uttama Gate Guru Charane Radhe Aise Uttama Gate Devasade Ure Sava Asa Chakudan dillo je jam jam Prabhu se Chakudan dillo je jam jam Prabhu se Devi Gyana Gide Prakatita Devi Gyana Gide Prakatita Prema Bhaktiya hoite Abhijami nasayate Prema Bhaktiya hoite Abhijami nasayate Tere Gaya Racharita Tere Gaya Racharita Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Guru Karuna Sindhu Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Lokena Lokena Jivana Lokena Lokena Jivana Ha Brahma Koradaya Diomore Parajayo Ha Brahma Koradaya Diomore Parajayo Ate Gute Bhavana Ate Gute Bhavana Ate Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajanara Bandhu Lokena Lokena Jivana Lokena Lokena Jivana Prabhu Koradaya Devamare Parajaya Koradaya Devamare Parajaya Ebe ate kote Devamana Ebe ate kote Devamana Sela Prabhupada Seta Bhavana Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Dada Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Devasesha Sanyavadi Pasyatya Deshadarine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Devasesha Sanyavadi Pasyatya Deshadarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jai Sacinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari, Nitai Gaurango, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gopi Ramana again. Mr. Papa, Hamsa Parvarichan Sutata, Shishima, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada again. Mr. Papa, Hamsa Parvarichan Sutata, Shishima, His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, Gopi Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada again. Ananta Kori Vaishnavinda ki, Namachasha Harirasa ko ki, Premsako Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasri, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Shamakun, Radhakun, Giri Govardhana ki, Shri Vrindavan Dhama ki, Shri Mayapur Dhama ki, Jagannath Puri Dhama ki, Ganga Maya ki, Jamuna Maya ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Tulsi Maharani ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Nitya Gaur Premanande. Glorious is the devotees, glorious is the devotees, glorious is the devotees. Go Shri Guru Ranga, go Shri Prabhupada.
So hard to close.
Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Gunja Bihari Gopi Ramana Gopi Ramana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Ananta Kori Vaishnava. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, Chapter 19, the Lord begs charity from Bali Maharaj, text number 19. Mam vachavi samaradhya Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padatrayam vriniteyo Buddhimandri padasusam Mam vachavi samaradhya Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padam trayam vriniteyo Buddhimandri padasusam
Mahavachobi samaradhya Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padatrayam vriniteyo Buddhiman vipadashusam Mam vachobi samaradhya Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padatrayam vriniteyo Buddhiman vipadashusam Mahavachobi smaradhaya Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padatrayam vriniteyo Buddhiman vipadashusam.
Ladies.
Lokanam ekam ishvaram Padatrayam vriniteyo Buddhiman Vipadashusham Mamvachavi Samadhya Lokanamekam Ishvaram Padatrayam Priniteyo Buddhiman Vipadashusham
Mam, me. Vachubi, by sweet words. Samaraja, after sufficiently pleasing. Lokanam, of all the planets in this universe. Ekam, the one and only. Put these books there. Ishvaram, Master. Controller also. Padatrayam, put this in the front. 3 feet. Vrinite is asking for. Yaha, he who. Aburiman. Sorry. Lost it. Not very intelligent. Dvipadasusam. Because I can give you an entire island. I'm able to give you an entire island. Because I'm the proprietor of the 3 divisions of the universe. You've come to take something from me. And have pleased me by your sweet words. But you are asking only 3 places of land. Therefore you're not very intelligent. Purport. According to the Vedic understanding, the entire universe is regarded as an ocean of space. In that ocean there are innumerable planets. Each planet is called a dvipa or an island. When approached by Lord Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj was actually in possession of all the dvipas or islands in space. Bali Maharaj was very pleased to see the features of Vamanadev and was ready to give him as much land as he could ask. But because Lord Vamanadev asked only 3 places of land, Bali Maharaj considered him not very intelligent. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanandana Salakaya Shakshura Minitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I'll leave it like that. My voice is sort of... I can still speak, but singing is a little hard. So Bali Maharaj had a sense of proprietorship. And of course, we should always think that we are not really proprietors. That whatever is under our control, is under our care, has been given to us by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like my voice, you know, it's just gone, right? And that's it, you know. So even our bodies, even the functioning of our bodies are temporarily ours. We cannot really say it's ours. It's just temporary under our care, that's all. And Krishna says, Purusam Risu, I am the ability in man. And that is a fact. If it is Krishna who's the ability in us, anything we can do, it can just be taken away like that. What to speak of all the external possessions that we have. And time does take everything away. That is the other thing. So time slowly takes things away, or sometimes very fast, from one moment to the next. Just like Bhishma Dev was explaining to Yudhisthira Maharaj, Yudhisthira was upset because 640 million people had been killed to put him on the throne. So he sort of felt like, I am so hungry for power, and as a result of my desire to take the throne, 640 million people are dead. And if I would have just been more renounced, all that would not have happened. So Yudhisthira naturally felt not so good about it. But Bhishmadev said, no, this is the direction of time. This is simply the direction of time. Meaning to say that time takes its own destiny and time will destroy everything. Right? So it is not like so dramatic, the destruction in this world, the loss in this world. It looks very dramatic to all of us, but is, from a transcendental point of view, not considered so dramatic. From the point of view of the Bhagavad Gita, it's not dramatic. We are experiencing like that, and that shows that we are not yet aligned with the Bhagavad Gita, that we haven't realized the Bhagavad Gita. We have read the Bhagavad Gita, that is one thing, I hope, but realizing the Bhagavad Gita and actually seeing things in a complete transcendental way, and seeing all the destruction in the material world all as insignificant, that is only possible for one who sees the Supreme Lord as the proprietor of everything. But as soon as we claim proprietorship, then there will be anxiety. Bhayam dvitiya binivesita syat. As soon as we see things separate from the Supreme Lord, then there will be anxiety, confusion, and so many things. As long as we start to have an agenda separate from the Supreme Lord. As long as our agenda is simply the service of the Lord, then we will be peaceful, because He's got it all under control. So ultimately, everything is going on according to His plan. But when we have a separate agenda, then there will be anxiety, there will be sadness, there will be suffering. And because we are going through these experiences, we realize that we do have a separate agenda from the Lord. We are still separated. But the Lord makes arrangements for our purification. That is going on. As He was making arrangements for Bali Maharaj's purification, He was about to destroy Bali Maharaj's sense of proprietorship. And Bali Maharaj took that in a spirit of transcendental knowledge. Although obviously it was a painful experience. We discussed how he was later arrested and strangled in a snake, and he was suffering. So in the same way, when we are experiencing how things are taken away, we are suffering. Like old age is suffering. To lose it, to take a step back. Who wants to take a step back? Right? One is older, so now I have to slow down, take a step back. And who welcomes that? Boring, right? Limiting. Better be young. But that actually only exists in the spiritual world. In the age of Kali, even when we're young, we're so much affected by the material energy. I know so many people, and the things that people have, it's quite something. This one has a hole in his heart, that one has a piece of metal somewhere, endless varieties of issues. All just, there's no end to it, and you just realize that in the age of Kali, Manda Sumanda Matio Manda Bhagi Upadruta, we're highly unfortunate we're already incapacitated even before decay sets in. We were never strong in the first place. That is the nature of this age. So right now, proprietorship is even less than it ever was. Prabhupada is saying, in this day and age, the ladies have plastic bangles. Formerly they had gold. But everything is now cheap and not really. Who can have an entire planet, right? And even if people are in positions of power, they don't have full power, and they are simply voted in power and have to constantly somehow or other keep that position. So in this way, some detachment makes sense. Otherwise you set yourself up. If we're not detached, we're setting ourselves up for the day that everything will be taken away, and then it will be very difficult. So better just be a bit detached now, and then it's easier. That is one thing we can draw from here. So Bali Maharaj was judging intelligence by mundane measures, which is looking at our own material advantage. And everyone is always looking at his own material advantage. We're always calculating where we're going to sit, what are we getting. If we position ourselves very carefully, even in the Hare Krishna movement. We look for a careful position where it fits for us. All right, that is acceptable because the process of bhakti is so powerful that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we have these material tendencies. Bhakti is more powerful anyway. It will capture us anyway. There is no escape anyway. Bhakti is just penetrating it and is just going to take us away, whether we want it or not. People have no idea what they play with. They have no idea. Like this castle, people come on a bus tour. Just touring, but it's not just touring, it's like they'll be hooked, they'll be captured, they're in the net, and they're going to be, it's like little by little Krishna will be back in their life. And it's like, if I look at my own life, it was like first Krishna was there once, then again and again. And it became like a red thread in my life. And then there was a red thread from the other side, and another red thread, and another one. And it began to gradually look like a net. And we go like, how do I avoid this? And it's like, I didn't think like, oh, how nice, I'm going to join the Hare Krishna movement. I thought, no, how do I avoid this? How do I get out of this? I don't think. And I thought, this thing you cannot do it half, You either, it's really like you do it or you don't. I guess I won't do it then. That was my choice, but Krishna had a different choice. And somehow or other, Krishna consciousness came back in my life because Krishna was making arrangements. He was making arrangements all along. To somehow or other make it very difficult to escape. I literally escaped from the Hare Krishna temple during the Govindam prayers, out the back door, and I thought, so, done. Yeah? But then I came, and it was in India, I came to the city of Benares, and suddenly I sat down at the Ganges, and one sadhu came, sat next to me, played an A guitar, and chanted Hare Krishna. 45 minutes. It's long. Huh? And he's just looking at me, chanting Hare Krishna. And it's like, and in the end, he just stood up and walked away. If he would have started the conversation, it would have not had the same impact. It's just like, it was too much, you know. It's like an agent of Krishna, completely. You can see, like, Krishna is just controlling this sadhu, using him. He sends him to me without a word. He sits down, starts to sing. He sits down next to me, starts singing Hare Krishna. I just escaped. It was too much. The next morning, I wake up in the street, and there's a whole group of people, Indian people, all chanting Hare Krishna, big kirtan in the street. I go, what's going on here? You know, I mean, this place is bewitched. You know? So I tried to get out. But of course, Krishna is everywhere, is all pervading. So in the beginning, in the 70s when I joined, and then it was, you either move in the temple and you are a devotee, or you're out of the temple and you're not a devotee. Then basically that's what it was. So, and if you've left the temple, you're not a devotee anymore. That was how it was seen. So it was like, you had to make this choice, you know, like, okay, moving in the temple. Now it is just, you know, the borderline between where spiritual life begins and where does it end. Like now, when you ask someone, when did you join? Well, it's hard to say, you know, like, I mean, did I join, you know, like if I joined by modern standards, I guess then I joined somewhere. I started sort of joining in 1975, and by 77 I was joining seriously, but not completely. And then, and then by 78, okay, I actually shaved up. So, what to do? These things. And therefore, because you had to join in such a drastic way, I did flip back a few times in the beginning. That's like, you know, as I said, I escaped a couple of times, left a few times, but it just didn't work. It didn't work. Once I went, I left for a few days. I won't tell the full story, but and I decided to be in Maya and go to the movies. And I went to a movie, and there were devotees in there. It's just like, you know, and it's just trying to be in Maya, and there are devotees in the movie. So it's like, it was just, I could see Krishna really doesn't want me to go. Krishna, he wants something from me. And in the same way, Krishna wanted something from Bali Maharaj. He didn't want to let him go. And Krishna wants something from all of us. And he will not let us go. And he will be back, you know. That is the thing. So in this way, we better just accept that we should simplify our personal agenda and just make Krishna's agenda in our life more prominent. That is really the one thing to do. And that is not done by a big revolution. It is not done by a big revolution. And somehow or other I have to, you know, work myself into a stage where I'm going to surrender. I'm going to do it tomorrow. But I'm getting ready. I'm really getting ready. And tomorrow I'm really got to do it. Well, maybe the day after, but I'm going to do it. That kind of approach is not really what will work. No. It's rather we have to construct a spiritual life. We have to build a spiritual life. We have to, little by little, it's not about convincing our mind. We'll never convince our mind. Conquering the mind, good luck. The mind is described to be very strong as an elephant. It's hard to control. But we just put the building blocks of spiritual life in our life. It is in the scriptures that we find this. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a particular book, Nectar of Devotion, which is systematically describing these building blocks and various means of how to construct a spiritual life. And that's it. Constructing means to put things in place and keep them there. Everything regular hearing, regular chanting, regular service to the deities, regular taking Krishna Prasadam, regular association of devotees. It's all regular. And then it is in this way we construct a spiritual life, by putting all these good positive activities in place. And in that way we make the conscious surrender. First, somehow or other, we get swept up in this movement. It comes our way and takes us along. I used to be there on these King's Days, which were Queen's Days before, in Amsterdam, before I was a devotee also. One year I had a small band and we were on the street doing music, right? And the whole day actually, and I remember I even wrote a song about it's a free day and in a free way we play. And I made that song up in the King's Day, and I was singing it like for hours in various ways and whatever it was. And then after that, I had a dream about this King's Day, and I saw myself and the little band just right there singing and people walking past, and suddenly this devotee is floating through the picture and walking there in my dream, and was a black devotee, and he walked through my dream, and then somehow or other later that devotee was there in the Amsterdam temple. I'd been first in Vrindavan, then later went to Amsterdam temple, and then that devotee was there. So I don't know if he actually walked past us and that I just didn't see him, because sometimes you sing with your eyes closed or whatever, you know, or it's just too much in the clouds, if you know what I'm talking about. Whatever it was, I somehow or other missed, but in my dream it came through. So we miss so many things. We don't see how Krishna was there in so many ways. Krishna, we didn't even notice. Another example, they say that in the musical Hair, the Mahamantra was there. I didn't notice that. I don't remember that also. I remembered that at the end, all the actors took off their clothes on stage. That I remembered very well. That was a shock. But that they were chanting Hare Krishna, I don't remember, but they did. And so I heard it, but I didn't register it. So how much Krishna consciousness has touched us without us registering it? And then at one point it comes to the surface and we become conscious. We become conscious of Krishna, of devotional service, of devotees, and of the philosophy, and we begin to consider it. It is at that and then comes a stage of acceptance. And when the stage of acceptance comes, that's when we have to start looking in how to construct a spiritual life. It's not about determination. I'm going to be a devotee. No, I'm convinced now. I'm going to be. I'm really going to be. No, I'm telling myself every day, that this is important. I have a note on the mirror, and it's just like, it says like, really, and on the fridge, and all strategic places, be Krishna conscious. No, that is okay. We can put notes on the fridge, we can put notes in strategic places, but that's not the ideal way to do it. The ideal way is take all the things that Rupa Goswami described. Worship the deity. Make offerings to the deity. Deities are very powerful. They are really bringing an anchor into our life. Because we are obliged. When you're involved with a deity, you act upon duty. You have responsibility. So this element of responsibility is where regularity comes in. How can you be regular about anything? Regular, when we are like, when we have restless minds. Chanchalam himana Krishna, the mind is restless. So how can you be regular when the mind is restless? We will be regular by taking responsibility for something, because that forces us to be regular. So deity worship does that. And therefore, it is very important. So we have temples. Of course, not too many big ones, because it is a lot of work to maintain such temples. We have altars at home, and that can we have deities? Srila Prabhupada said householders should have deities. But we must take care. Not like when you go on holiday, put them in the box. No. And then, you just put them in the box for a couple of weeks and then you come back. Yeah, we'll put you in a box for a couple of weeks. That's not good enough. So, no, personal. Krishna is a person. Of course, if the deities are very big, you have no one, then you can take a picture of the deities with you and do the worship to the picture. That's possible. That can be done. So arrangements can be made to make it practical. I also have in my worship a 15-minute level of worship and a 1.5 hour program. In the 15 minutes, it's very basic, simple. That's what's going to be today. You see it coming, because so we can adjust, but the worship must go on, the service must go on. That is the point. So responsibility is what brings that regulation. Therefore, that is our saving grace. So to make a contribution to the Hare Krishna movement is important. Not only to take advantage of the Hare Krishna movement and to sort of use the Hare Krishna movement to nourish us. We have temples, nice festivals, nourishment. Ratha Yatra comes to my town. Hey, I'm dancing in front. Yes, but also to take some service, to make a contribution. That is what ultimately will give us that regularity. And that regularity will purify us. So that is important. Because otherwise it's all depending on our good intentions. My good intentions. No, I'm going to surrender to Krishna. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to chant really good rounds. All my good intentions for the next year. I'm going to read a lot. I'm going to chant good rounds. I'm going to offer many obeisances to the Vaishnavas. I'm going to do all these things. Yeah. No, you won't. Because the three modes of material nature, they won't let us. The three modes of material nature, they have also their good intentions. And I'm going to entangle this person. I'm going to sit on their head. I'm going to make them sick. I'm going to push them down. I'm going to get them busy. I'll make them depressed. Whatever I can do to them, I will do to them, to somehow or other squeeze the life out of them. And then it's like, oh my God, you know, what happened to all your good intentions? I don't know. I don't know. It was a hell of a year. I somehow or other, I'm lucky I'm still here, type of thing. Yeah. So good intentions. We're not the only ones with good intentions. Maybe the intentions of the three modes are better than our intentions. But let us build. And we can build with smaller things. Build with smaller things, but do it regular. And then more. Yeah? And then eventually, after doing smaller things regularly, then big things become easy. It is like that. That spiritual life develops. One must build it up. Like anything. Anything, I mean, if you want to get expert at something, you need to build it up. It's like, I'm looking at an actor right now, and if you want to be an actor, it takes maybe a little talent, right? Absolutely, you have to be a little expressive, but then you have to work and sweat, and like for years to develop that, and to learn the art and perfect it, and that is spiritual life. So we have to build it up in this way, and then we'll be able to do it. Then we'll be able to choose for Krishna. Only then, not by some resolution. So, okay, with that I will bring it to a conclusion and end our festival. I'm supposed to give some closing words, right? So, I gave you some books to take, and the yellow one is about that, how to build that spiritual life. Actually, that's what it is, how to construct it. The other book is the Ladu, you know, the small one, the sweet, right? And it's the sweet sort of like, which you need sometimes, like I said yesterday, right? What do you do when you struggle in spiritual life and you just don't know how to carry on and and you're struggling, and what do you do then? Take sweets. And it's this movement runs on sweets. There's no doubt about it. You know? I mean, it's important to take sweets. If someone joins the movement and doesn't take sweets, doesn't look good. I'm sorry. I don't have much hope for that person. You know, I mean, it's gonna be tough. Someone who cannot control himself with the sweets in the beginning, that's good, you know. After a while, of course, you have to slow down. And we don't want a movement of diabetics, but the point though is there. Spiritual life in general has its austerities, so we need a little sweet and different kinds of sweetness. So let us look for sweetness and let us give that sweetness when we can. So building and constructing is more serious and more salty, and then something sweet also. And with the combination of that, a combination of seriousness and looking for sweetness in that way, looking for inspiration again and again where we find it. In that way, we will advance and become eligible to go back to God at the end of this life, and that's the idea. Okay, any questions or comments?
I hear that Krishna, if we do offences, he does let us go. At the same time, we're hearing he doesn't let us go.
He says that when we make offenses, that Krishna will let us go. No, he doesn't. No. You see, there are 2 points. One is Neha vikramo nasasti pratyavayana vichate swapamapi yasya dharmasya tayate mahato bhayat. That whatever you do, there is no diminution in devotional service. Whatever result you get from devotional service, it cannot be lost. It's the eternal spiritual bank balance, everything goes in there, and your bank balance can never be lost. So your credits will never be lost. Now, then you have the other description about the mad elephant offense. And when you blaspheme the devotees and so on, the mad elephant goes into your garden and rips up all your creepers, right? Just destroys your whole garden. So that looks like the doomsday scenario. You've made the offense. Now nothing can save you anymore. It's just too bad. Krishna will let you go. Which of the two is stronger? The eternal spiritual bank balance or the mad elephant offense? Actually, what happens is, with the mad elephant offense, what happens is your bank account gets frozen. Your spiritual bank account gets frozen. So it is as if you're poor because you have no access to your money. But in due course of time, it will be defrozen again. And then you'll be rich again. You'll have all your Daivi Sampat, all your spiritual wealth again. An example is Aswatthama. An example is Daksha. Right? They are the examples of serious offenders, of devotees, who had to suffer, and still, for a long time, but eventually are being reinstated. So therefore, oh no. Mukunda made this offense by going to the Mayavadis, and Lord Chaitanya said, Mukunda, no. Mukunda, don't allow him to come any longer. Mukunda is the one who sings with so much devotion. No, he sings sweetly in the front, but he stabs me in the back. He goes to the lectures of Mayavadis. Out with Mukunda, he cannot come in. Everyone said, oh, but Mukunda. Lord Chaitanya said, no, I will not see Mukunda for 1,000,000 births. And Mukunda started dancing outside in ecstasy. He will see me in 1,000,000 births. Then Lord Chaitanya said, okay, let him in. So, another example. No, the Lord will never forsake us. Name bhaktya pranasyati. My devotee will never perish. Anyone else? Yes.
All the guidance is that we should be more detached. But at the time of sort of being detached from our situations outside, we're forming attachments to you. So is that okay?
That's okay, because attachments, it's not that we just become detached, we also must become attached. We become attached to Krishna. So of course, attachment to me, I'm just pointing at Krishna. Right? So I'm just the traffic agent, like I'm here, like you come towards me, I'll just go, yep, this way, please. That's all. I'm just directing traffic. That's my job.
For instance, last year, most of my year was spent in trying to plan where you were and how often we could come and see you.
Great.
And this year is looking like the same again.
Okay, I'll start posting my travel schedule on the web. That's good. That's what we do. The spiritual master is the source of our inspiration. So we go and take advantage of that association. And then we get inspiration and we take that back home and then we practice Krishna consciousness there. So that is good. Because if you go to the temple, you get very attached to coming to the temple. If you every day go to the temple and you bring flowers every day to the deities in the temple, you'll never miss it for no reason. Then even when you're really sick, right, and you can't go, and you'll arrange that someone else will deliver the flowers. So it's a deep attachment that will save you at the end of your life. Krishna will take you back. So where's that flower lady? Huh? And maybe then you become, then in the spiritual world you'll be making garlands for Krishna, who knows? So no attachment to Krishna and Krishna's representatives, Krishna's paraphernalia is good. Like some devotees, they said, I like your beads. They shine really nicely. I think of stealing them. Now, and some of my disciples. So I'm careful. In this whole festival, I've been watching for pickpockets. Because I'm attached to these beads. And I'm looking after them. And I pray that I will not lose them. So attachment to Krishna and paraphernalia and personalities related to Krishna is healthy attachment. Bhagavad Gita 7.1 Maya Shaktamana Partha, you should get attached to me, Ashakta. Should get attached to me, Krishna says. And Krishna means Krishna, his representatives and his paraphernalia. Yes?
But what if we become attached and then, for example, if someone else appears and wants to do something, we are like, no, this is my service, this is...
that happens a little bit. Some territorial tendencies coming out. We should, in the beginning, one becomes attached to the service. Later one becomes attached to Krishna. And then for Krishna, then one can move on to a greater service. Or to other service also. As long as we're serving Krishna. See? So that's it. It's, in the beginning it's, this is my service, this is what I'm doing, and I love to do it, and I'm doing it for Krishna, and this is my thing. This is what I do for Krishna. But later on it's just attached to Krishna. Any service.
I see spiritual life in the beginning is more easy, it's like Krishna give extra bhakti, but later on in the years it's like when somebody is learning how to swim, that somebody put their hands under and then later on you are by your own. It could be like that in Krishna consciousness.
I have an analogy of a desert. And in the beginning people, they live in an oasis in the desert. The oasis of sense gratification. Then there is someone who says there's a beautiful green land, a teacher, but in order to go there, you have to travel through the desert. So you go out of the oasis, follow the guide, and you're out there, and the hot sun of lust is burning on your head, and it's really intense. It's now much heavier than it was in the beginning when you were in the oasis, and the stranger brought some nice fruits, and it was very inspiring. Now you're in the desert, the hot sun is on your head, you're not getting enough, not that much nectar, right? It's all tapasya, austerity. Then eventually, as we're traveling, and we go, some people go back, some people go mad, some people give up, but those who stick it out, they carry on, and they come to the second oasis, the oasis of the mode of goodness. Some say, hey, this is good, I'm staying here, this is the place. No, says the stranger, we must go out again. Now we must take the fruits, and no longer for ourselves. Now we must give these fruits to others. And ultimately, the more we do so, then the real change comes. Then you get to the spiritual world. So, like this. Yes?
So will just the chanting and the processes of bhakti purify us, or will we need something additional?
Devotees. We need to develop our relationships with the devotees. Not just the process of bhakti and chanting. No, devotees. We have to see that these relationships with the devotees are the most precious. All the devotees. That like the whole movement. These are all very precious people. Every devotee. Even your family are also devotees. They're also precious people. So extremely precious people, and to treat them like precious people.
But my question though is...
But my answer is very, very, very pertinent. It completely answers your question. Completely. It is there that you'll find it. At the feet of the devotees. Nowhere else. That's where you find the taste for chanting. That's why you find the taste for service. And taste is the only thing that can make us do it. The devotees are very precious. Yeah.
You said about the desert.
Loud.
You said like about the passing through the desert from the oasis to the. So I would like to ask like the journey through the desert. Does it really have to be like with the scorching sun, or it's like the fault of the devotee when he's not like really practicing good, then he really feels the sun? I mean, like, can we pass the desert without so much suffering?
There are different things we can do in the desert when we are going through the dry stretch of the desert, you know. One thing is, of course, if Krishna sends some clouds, which he sometimes does, that helps. Another thing is the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas, they have many things that can give us shelter. So they can give us the parasol of Srimad Bhagavatam. And, you know, you just keep that over your head. And in that way, you keep the Bhagavatam over your head. And then you definitely, it feels much cooler. And you just go through that desert much easier. So like that, the devotees can give us some attributes by which we can go to the desert more easy. Yes?
Thank you, Maharaj. A practical question. What if your temple is not very huge, this one, like, you know?
Small, yeah.
Okay? And then you have like a point of the which the Mataji made about the syrup. If the devotees have their static syrups there, but a lot of newcomers are coming and feel obliged, like I feel obliged to engage them in the service. So sometimes what I do is, someone who has static syrups to clean the temple, I ask, humbly, please, can they do it today? They are new, and I would like to engage them, and that gives a lot of problems. So how to please the devotees to keep and maintain their static service in the temple while at the same time you're trying to engage others as well in the service?
We have to first of all look at what our service is. And our service is not to maintain a temple and to look after the functions in a temple. Our service is to expand Krishna consciousness in the three worlds, everywhere. So our service goes, the temple is a place, the mercy must flow out from that temple in all directions. So if you look at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is a big temple, now there's a big team. They make like a big Janmashtami magazine, or what's it called? It's a souvenir magazine, and it's like a big thing, you know, like a book. And in there, you should get one. And in there, they show all the services that they do. And there's so many outreach programs. So it's about outreach, and gradually the older devotees will get more involved in outreach. Yeah? But it's like the temple, that goes on. There's a pujari, there's a few people, and keep it clean. But there's so many, you know, like I see in Stockholm. In Stockholm they do a lot of school preaching, and sometimes they have three devotees simultaneously doing school programs. And all these devotees get involved in it. You know what I'm saying? But so like this, so find out what other centers do in outreach, and then everyone will be happy. To an extent. Sutapa.
Marge, you talked about building your spiritual life. So my question is that sometimes we think, I'm doing good, I'm doing okay, I'm content, and I just need to maintain. So is it always, is it a good sign that you're content in spiritual life, or should we always be feeling dissatisfied and wanting to do more? So where's the balance between both?
Building spiritual life, one comes to a point where one is thinking, I'm doing okay, one feels content. Is that all right? Or should one feel dissatisfied and doing more? I think a bit of both is needed. Obviously we need a certain level of satisfaction with our life and feeling that I'm living a good life, and maintain that goodness in our life. But we do need to also expand. We need to in all directions. We need to this movement is expanding in all directions. Gotram Vardhanamiti, let our family lineage increase. Let the ocean of transcendental bliss just grow and grow and grow. Also within us. So we do have to grow and start thinking about challenges in our life. We need some challenges. Like our Krishna Kshetra Swami, he told me at one point, I think I want to take sannyas. And we were like, Professor Kshetra, taking sannyas now. And then he said, yes, because I need a new challenge in my life. I really need a challenge. So one must look for some challenge in one's life. Something to get out of that complacency. So we cannot just be satisfied with what we have. We are satisfied with what we have. That must be there. But also look at a challenge further on the way. Yes.
I would just continue with Sutapa's question.
Loud.
I would just ask
to the point.
A few points on Sutapa's question. Let's say we're trying to outreach, but do we have the adhikar to do this?
We have the adhikar to outreach when we are, we can preach on the level that where we are. That means don't preach about what you don't know. As simple as that. Just say I don't know. Like when people ask me what are people taking for breakfast in the spiritual world, it gets complicated because I really don't see that. I don't know. So that's complicated. But let us somehow or other preach according to what we know. And then we can. We are empowered. And then we're also protected. But we always do it under the guidance of the Vaishnavas. They'll protect us. Alone it may be hard, but under the guidance of the Vaishnavas we'll be protected. I take one last question and then it's goodbye. She was first, yes?
She would like to ask, she says that in the beginning her motivation to join the movement was that she was suffering, and she asks how to redirect or change the motivation because she thinks it's not enough to run only on that motivation to get out of suffering.
Yeah. Some come for different reasons. Some come because of distress and then they come to Krishna consciousness. Others come looking for knowledge. Others come looking for wealth. other are curious. So these things are there mentioned. So if we come with another motivation than pure devotional service, then it will have to change. So we have to discover the taste in Krishna consciousness. We have to look for taste. Where is it? Where is taste? So follow your taste. Do service and do your duty. But at the same time, besides doing your duty, also follow your taste. Okay. Okay.
Maharaj, es con respecto a Bali Maharaj. Yo no entiendo si tenía asociación de demonios, tenía un maestro espiritual demoníaco. ¿De dónde sale su devoción por?
He's talking about Bali Maharaj. He was in the association of demons. His guru was a demon. I mean, what was his chance? Yes, but his connection was there with Prahlad. And that brought special grace on him. And secondly, he became very powerful and conquered the 3 worlds. So as a result, he had to be removed from that position. But because of his good qualities, which he inherited from his grandfather, he surrendered all the property he had to the Lord, and for that he did get a lot of mercy. So, some good connections he had. But even if you come from a family of total demons, even if all your teachers are demons, one devotee can change it like that. Just one Sankirtan devotee, one devotee doing kirtan. Just make them dance. Make them dance. Even the demons can dance. And if you try to make all the demons of the world dance, then even the demon in yourself becomes changed into a devotee. And thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. That was. I wish you all a safe journey home, back home. And I wish you all I hope to see you soon somewhere. I will. Remember, I invited you to Numaipur this year on Balaram's appearance day in France. Pour la différence. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Just a quick one. Not for breakfast. If anyone was thinking of uploading the song that I did, please don't. I didn't have any licensing on the track. So don't upload, please. And if anyone was going to the song that I had done.
It's already on Facebook. It went live. They were streaming the whole thing, Guru Das.
3 million views.
I have one more announcement. Maybe someone is leaving of you and you don't know. You can pack your packages, like to get prasadam with you. There will be some bread, fruit, etc. in the tent. It's included in the festival price, so you don't have to pay it. You just say whatever you want, okay, for your trip back home.
Wow. Prasadam you can take as takeaway packages in the tent.
Final announcement, please take out your bed sheets, because a lot of our group yesterday forgot to do it. So please take out your bed sheets before you leave.
No.
May I have some of these books that we didn't get?
Gopali?
I'm not sure. Okay, can you take your money from me also? Look at this side.
This is
Sorry, I will have like
Even Chant email English is still good. Where can I meet you Or you're going to breakfast? I will run. So where you get it, and then I'll start to
Okay, so when are you leaving? Oh, okay, time is there. So after breakfast, then can you come over?
Ich habe die andere geschrieben. Ich habe jetzt nicht die ganze Zeit noch gestern. Ich habe jetzt ich habe einiges nachgehört, mir von Ihnen in letzter Zeit eigentlich Organisationen weil nichts macht. Also ich habe das Gefühl, dass ich die einzige Ausgestattung und macht alles sagen, ja, ich habe schon Zeit. Und ich frage mich gerade, ich muss schauen. Über das ganze Land gesprochen und ich wollte dann also das nächste sagen, wir machen jeden ersten Samstag im Monat machen wir was zusammen in der Gruppe und dann wollten wir halt das visuell angeben und wieder so am Laufen lassen. Ja, das macht wenig, dass wir an die Eislaufen und alles, aber irgendwie die Planung der Leute, die Organisationsgesellschaft, das nicht alleine ist.
Oh, that book.
That book, and the one other thing you see in the middle.
Yes.
It's probably
Yes.